Alright guys, well welcome back to a long-awaited video maybe for some of you, and for some of you, well, welcome for the first time if this is your first time watching. Let's talk racing. So for those of you that have been watching, you'll know that just this Sunday gone we had a day racing on the R7 over at Blackhawk Farms with ASRA. If you can see the sticker in the shot, but might not be. And we had a pretty good day. So it was a really busy day. So I had 5 races to do in the day with a quick warm-up session in the morning. So I did a couple of pieces to camera at the track, but then the rest of the day, it was just way too busy. And I just had to keep topping up the fuel in between races and trying to recover my energy and hydrate and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't do loads of filming of myself at the track, but we did get some onboard footage, of course. So I'm going to put a couple of highlights in from a couple of races, and then probably I'll do a longer clip of one of the other races where we actually got down to a new PB, so that was great. Some of you will know again that I was trying to run some different gearing on the back, a higher gear or more teeth on the rear. You'll hear from me at the track that it's not something that I liked and would probably be something that I need to mess about with at a test day rather than trying to do racing on, you know, slightly new things. I'd rather just turn up and race knowing what I'm racing on, rather than messing about testing. So that was a little bit of a lesson learned. And then the quick shifter, which I installed just before the race day, it is enabled on the dash, but it's not functioning yet, and I don't quite know why yet. So I've got a few little things to look at there, and that might be a little quick video as well later on. But yeah, I'll let you get to the track. I have reviewed quickly the footage that I've made at the track, but if it's no good, then you might be back here really quickly. But I'll try and put some in. I'm all sweaty and horrible and not really thinking straight, but I'll put that in so you can see what that's like. And then I might do some narrations over some videos, and then you can come back and we'll do a little review, small review at the end. Okay, so let's have a couple of minutes look at this race. So this was the lightweight GP 500 class as well. So we've got a mixture of 400 bikes as well as some of us on the, you know, SVs, R7s, R660. I got an, you know, average start. It wasn't great. That seemed to be the theme of the day, but we do make up a place here, and then we get tucked in behind Chris on the RS660 here. We've got Scott ahead of us in the pack there on his GSX R8. So I'm really trying to keep up with Chris, and there we go. I do a bit of a dive bomb into this tight corner because I knew I've got to make my moves early on, whilst I've got, you know, good energy, and whilst it's the opening lap where you can sometimes pick a few off. So now I've got a gaggle of 400 bikes who obviously ride really well, but we need to get past them if we're going to keep Chris behind me. So I'm trying to do my best to get through these guys who are having their own little battles. We do make some decent moves under braking or out of the last corner as well. So a little by little we're picking them off. At this point I'm in second place, I believe, in my class, in the amateur class for the lightweights, and I'm conscious that Chris will be on my tail. So I'm just trying to keep up, trying to make some quick and easy moves where possible, but it's not easy, honestly, anywhere around this track. So we're getting held up, and I'm desperately trying to figure out where I'm going to get past. So finally, along the main straight, again, sorry for the fog up guys, but yeah, so we get them under the braking into the first corner, and I think Scott is ahead of us here, but I can't quite see him on the camera here. So again, I've just got to try and get my head down, but these guys now on these 400s are a little bit quicker than some of the other guys. So I end up following around, catching, and then making a couple of mistakes probably here and there. And and so I'm not quite making the progress that I need to. But still a good race. Again, sat in second until round about now, where Chris comes over the line and takes second place away from me. And so that was the end of the race. I'm shaking my fist at him because he just robbed me of second. But we got our podium here. It wasn't my first podium, but the second one of the day, so that's cool. Well, hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Here I am at Blackhawk Farms Raceway again. We're doing another race day. We've got 5 races today, and the first of which is coming up right next in about 5 minutes. I'm going in kind of dry because I didn't do a test day or anything. I've just had the 10-minute warm-up session this morning. So in every race I'll be at the back of the grid, I think, unless it's a race 2 of the same class, of course. But there's not many people here, so we haven't got a chance of getting on the podium. So I'm just gonna try my best, as usual. We're gonna keep it smooth. I don't know if you can see, but the ground, it was raining most of the night, so we've got a bit of the track's fine. As far as I could tell in the warm-up session, it's dry pretty much everywhere. Just a few little damp spots here and there. So we're just gonna have a go and see how we're doing. I did install the quick shifter finally, and I've got the logo on the dash working, but it's not working. When I try to click up the gear, I just get that numb feeling on the gear shifter. So I'm still having to click the throttle off just for a split second. I can hear it. I can hear it cut the ignition when it's changing gear, but it just doesn't seem to have enough leverage, maybe force, to detect that I'm trying to change gear, which is really annoying right now. So I need to have a quick mention with the other guys and see if they can help me with that, because I have a feeling it's just in the way you initialize it. Depends how, maybe it depends how much force you had on the sensor when you initialized it, and maybe I just had too much force or too much travel or something, so I might have to go through the whole procedure again. Anyway, race 1 coming up soon. Alright, so this is the lightweight Formula 40. So we've got a mix of bikes here. My main, I guess, competitors are those 2 that were on the front row on the left there, Scott on his Gixxer 8, and Chris again on the ASRA 660. Again, not a great start, honestly, but in the end it doesn't make too much difference. So we have to get past this 600, which we do fairly well on the first lap here, and then I'm going to get sat in behind Chris again, a familiar story for some of the races this weekend. Yeah, and we're up against, so I think the bike ahead of us is a Gixxer 750, who is blasting us on the straights and then parking it on the corners, unfortunately. So Chris gets past him relatively quickly, and I don't, is the main story of this race. Ultimately, would I have had enough to get second from Chris? Who knows? So it probably didn't matter in the end, and so I end up having this dice trying to get past this 750 with some slightly dodgy late braking maneuvers at times, but eventually we did get past him to slot into the 3rd place for this race as well. So the first race of the day was actually where I got my first podium. This was my braking move here into the bus stop corner. So yeah, the first race of the day, which I haven't talked about, was my first podium, and it wasn't my great race, to be honest. I was struggling to get back into the groove, and so I'm not showing it because I was a bit dodgy and making mistakes. But ultimately, I managed to get 3rd out of the 5 people that entered that first race, which was lightweight superbike. So yeah, back to this race. Yeah, a bit of a move here into the carousel to get past. All right, so that race went okay. I wasn't riding great. Getting back into this track takes a minute to get used to. I also was struggling a bit with the bike, the rear end felt quite slippy, so I wasn't putting my full trust in it just yet. I don't know if that's something to do with the lower gearing, is that how you say it? The easier accelerating gears. So I don't know whether I'm just going to put in the gearing that I had originally, which is the 42, I think, rear. Also the quick shifter's not working. I've got the symbol on the dash, but every time I try and click up, it's just not working. And then I popped out of gear at least once, coming out of 5th into 4th, which is horrible. And then into the first turn, I was trying to go down and missed the gear, so I was in a false neutral going into turn 1, which wasn't nice. Ultimately, it didn't make too much difference to the race. The 2 guys ahead of me, one guy is like probably, he was 7 seconds a lap faster than me, which is not obviously nice to know. He was on an SV650, maybe with a decent tune on it. And then there was a GSX-8R who came in 2nd, and then we came in 3rd in the amateur class, which is nice. But I would prefer to feel better on the bike, I think, to feel like I've earned it in some way. So yeah, a couple of struggles, and I'm thinking I might just change back to that gearing that I was used to before. Maybe that will give me the confidence back on the gas again. So that's where I'm at. Some things to decide, but still technically a podium, so I'll take it. Alright, this race then is the lightweight super sport. You can see we've got more bikes on the grid now. Aaron's there in his bright orange in front of us on a RF660, as well as Chris next to me on the left. Sergio on my right is on an R7 as well. And so this is a nice group. This race I placed like 5th, I think, or something like that in my category as well. So it wasn't like this was a, you know, in terms of the result at the end, wasn't the best, but it was probably the most fun. And this was a race where I got my 2 PBs, if you want, a 19.5 and a 19.4, 1 minute 19. We did get an early move done here on Chris, but again we've got this same story of running with these 400 bikes. And again, all of these races I'm at the back of the grid because I didn't do any qualifying, being that I only arrived on the Sunday. So some of these bikes are quicker than me, some are a bit slower, so it's good to try and get past as we can, and we try and hook into the back of Aaron, but the way that he gets out of the corners, you're going to see, is way better than me, and he's just off if we watch him round this next corner. So he's tight on the way in, but on the way out, just watch what happens here. He's on that gas early. He weighs much less than me, he's got a bit more power, and off he's gone. So kudos, because I'm not taking anything away, he's a great rider too, but yeah, I've got a few things to work on if I want to be competing with Aaron, that's for sure. But still, we're making progress through the pack, and again I'm trying to use him as the carrot to follow. It's not so easy, but we're doing our best. So whilst we're in the middle of this race, I could probably share a few other thoughts. There's definitely more to come from both me and the bike. I need to lose some weight. I think the bike may have to go to transition into a full race bike at some point, to help with performance and things like that, which again this year I've barely ridden it on the road, so it's not like it's truly needed on the road these days. So we'll see what happens there long term. So yeah, thoughts for another day perhaps. So yeah, the race starts. They weren't terrible, I've had worse for sure, but I just didn't have that edge that I felt that I had the first race weekend we were here at Blackhawk Farms, so some things to work on there too. So yeah, but otherwise, again, great company, a great race weekend. I might shut up for a little bit and come up with some thoughts in a minute whilst we watch this race unfold. interesting just looking at these laps that will come up eventually, which were my new personal best laps. It's hard to see where you're making the time up, because it's, you know, it might be a second over the whole lap, so to try and distinguish where you've made up some time just by watching videos is pretty difficult. What we do need to invest in is one of those, you know, AIM Solo 2s, whatever they are, which we can pull out some GPS data from, and we can begin to fathom where we're making the time up. That's obviously quite an investment. What are they, $500, $600 with tax, whatever they are. But that would be really helpful to start understanding it and making progress where we need to. That is for sure. So I think this is probably one of the PB laps where I'm actually following this 400 around. But we did manage to use this as a bit of a spur, I guess, to get under that 1:20 mark. I think this is one area where I've improved a little bit. This corner, I think, is also an area where I've improved, just managing to roll through it a bit better. Carrying a bit more lean angle, which is, again, something I've still got to push on. I'm not even using the full edge of the slicks yet, so we've definitely got some lean angles to go at. Guy's a bit too focused behind him because he makes something of a mistake or pushes himself too hard into this corner, and I think he misses a shift here or something, because we've driven past a lot easier than we had the other lap. And yeah, this is going to be another 1:19. I think I got some decent drive out of here, and I think this area where we get around this king and then we can still push it wide to have a tighter entry but still carry the speed. So I think that's one area where I've improved, so that's good. This area is tricky because you don't want to be pushing it wide here, so just on the, you know, edges of being a little bit too wide there, but we're running through okay. I think that's Aaron still there in the distance, so we're not too far behind. Just need to get that little extra time. Okay, so if I'm right, we're going to see the white flag. Yep, so the white flag's waving, which means last lap time. Now I'm conscious that our mate Chris on the RS is probably close behind. I don't have a good technique to look behind yet, and I don't have anybody giving me, you know, a pit board or anything, so I've no idea who's behind me or how far they are behind. So I think I push a little bit too hard on this lap and make some mistakes, which ultimately is a little bit of my downfall. But still, we weren't in a podium position anyway at this point. But it's more, you know, a little bit of bragging rights for me and Chris. Right, so this is the key area, it seems, where I messed up. Because lo and behold, here he is, and I try a bit of a desperate move, and all he has to do is do the cut back, which there he is. And I'm swearing in my helmet again because he's out-dragged me again, but kudos. And I think that was one of the guys just lapping us there at the end, so that didn't matter. Ultimately he was lapping us, but yeah, great race, really enjoyed it. Nice to get those PBs and to see some improvement, so great. So here we go, we did get a few trophies from the day, like I said. We got 3 third place finishes in the lightweight superbike, lightweight GP, and the lightweight F40 for old people like me, over 40 years old. All of these are in the amateur class, of course, and these are nice, great memories. Not quite the end goal yet. We'd like to get some number 1s at least in the amateur class at some point in my life, but we've still got a fair way to go to do that. But there you go, just thought I'd show you the little memories there. Those are the ones from back in England, so ignore those ones. But yeah, pretty cool. Glad we got some. Excellent. So yeah, overall then, where am I feeling with the R7? Well, I'm feeling good. I think there might be the gearing that I'm using now. You can hear it in the video. I only use 5th gear at one point in the whole track, and I'm kind of liking that because 5th gear is notorious on these bikes for just dropping out of gear back into 4th. You have a moment of false neutral or whatever, and there's one particular turn where I was clicking up to 5th with the more teeth gear in the back, right into the kink of the final corner, and it did skip out of gear again right at that moment, which is really, you know, off-putting. You don't want that happening. So I'm kind of happy with the gearing now as it is, because I don't have to click into, I'm really bouncing on 4th for a split second into that final corner, which I don't really mind. And so I'm only using 5th down the main straight. Everywhere else is 3rd and 4th, basically, I think. So that felt more comfortable. Whether it's the fastest ultimate, you know, I'll have to play around on another day and figure it out. But yeah, otherwise, it was great to drop that time down another second into the 1 minute 19.4, 1 minute 19.5. There was 2 consistent laps there where we got those 2 laps in, and it was good because it was towards the end of the race, towards the end of the day. So I was feeling reasonable, you know, I wasn't fading. My fatigue wasn't too bad, obviously. We made those times up. And these tyres, the Metzler TD, are still the original ones that I put on in the beginning of the year for track use, and I've still got no complaints about them. They're still going strong, even after, you know, a couple of race weekends and a test day. So really happy with those Metzlers. I would still run them another weekend as they are, to be honest. So for a budget conscious racer like me, they are great. So really happy with those. There's going to be a bit of winter work. I have to make some decisions about whether we're going to go full race with the R7, like full body work, get rid of the lights, any other bits and bobs where we can save some weight. We'll have a think. But overall, really happy. It was a great day out racing, especially after the move and everything. You know, was a concern that I'd be tired and worn out, but there was no concerns there, so that was good. So I'm trying to think of anything else, but it was just a good day, and really pleased with how it all went in general. I felt good on the bike, and I still feel good now, even the day after. So obviously things are helping, like the race seat that we made is a good modification for me, the taller rider. So I'm very pleased with that too. All right, if I think of anything else, I'll come back, but I might wrap it up here. And if so, thanks for watching. And if I've got any other thoughts, I'll be back in literally a few seconds. Bye.